So you talked about privacy issues on the discussion before, right?
Yes.
And I asked you a question about privacy in kids. I get these questions all the time from people saying, okay, you're not afraid what the kids are saying, and especially that negative part in school. Do you think that's the same thing, that in school they focus on the negative side of what's happening on the internet?
I think they're going to start focusing on it, right? I mean, we're at an interesting point in sort of our own human evolution in terms of understanding what social networks mean to us as individuals, as well as it means to us in a greater society. How we're viewed, how we can steer perception. We're learning this, right? We're also learning how what we say and who we connect with online impacts us. And unfortunately, for the time being, we're learning the hard way. But if we want to look at the future of all of this, we have to look no further than our children.
Right.
They're learning about this faster than the people who are supposed to be teaching them. Their parents, their teachers, their educators. For example, we see such negative activity around social networking because people feel comfortable to say things online that they would never say in person.
Right.
And so we have rising cases of bullying, cyberbullying. But children now have figured out, for example, on Facebook, well, every time I log off Facebook, I'm going to disable my account so I can control what's posted there when I'm not there. Nothing, right?
Wow.
Basically, I come back, I activate it again, and I interact. So they're figuring out alternative solutions in the absence of education, in the absence of insight, but it's still nonetheless important. You and I, and the teachers that we know, and the other parents that we know, this is that moment where we're going to have to force ourselves to realize the importance of all of this so that we can learn, so that we actually have something to teach kids.
So, do you learn more from your kids, or do you teach your kids as well how to behave on the web?
I think we learn from watching our kids as well as watching everything around us. I mean, that's observation is powerful. I think that we maybe have lived life a little too comfortably for a little too long with blinders.
Yeah.
Perspective is everything right now because so much is changing, right? Who you are is already defined by what you've shared online. Meaning I can search Facebook, I can search Twitter, I can search Google, and I get a perception of you without your ability to tell me anything about yourself. You're not even around. And I'm making decisions based on that information. We see this in universities, we see this in employment, and it's just so important now that we figure out how to help those around us as well as ourselves start to at least put the right pieces out. But it's very difficult though, right? Because it's so fun, it's so social, you're sharing, you're having fun, it's very easy, and then you learn the hard way.
Yeah. Well, and do you think that as a company, you're allowed to check out all the profiles before you're going to see if you're going to hire them, right? That's a tough question.
I
right?
think what I think is almost irrelevant. I've actually sometimes realized that while there is great controversy and opinion, I think in this time I take the role of educator, analyst and educator, because what I think is irrelevant. They're doing it.
Right.
In fact, in the States, we're going to have a little sound effects to mark the dramatic answer I'm about to give you. Look, the reality is that they're doing it. They're making decisions. They're hiring and firing based on what they find. But at the same time, what works against us also works for us, right? We can help ourselves.
Right.
By improving what we share, demonstrating a little bit about who we are and who we want to be. And that's what's not encouraged more often, right? There's this idea between self-promotion and branding. They're very different things, right? And we're not comfortable with the idea of branding because that actually takes work, that takes thought. We'd never really had to do that before. We had a resume that spoke to us, but now our actions, our connections say everything about us. There are credit agencies in the United States that are analyzing your social graph to measure credit risk. That is out of control. And they're making decisions on whether or not you are good enough for credit based on who you're connected to. But we don't think that.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. So what I think about it and what's happening are very different things. I don't know if I have enough energy or resources to fight policy, but I can just help educate.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you.